Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Academy of Shred. My name is Emmanuel Noor, and I'm extremely happy and excited because it is this day of the month. It is Wednesday, third Wednesday of the month, and this means it's time for Academy of Shred. So get ready for, a couple of hours of shred, of metal, of high gain, of lots of great stuff to be shown to you tonight. I'm super excited and I hope that you are as well. So guys, what you've just heard in the beginning was a song which was from my band. It's called Skytribe. And Skytribe is my latest metal band, and it's a very special thing. And Skytribe is accompanying us through this episode tonight. So I've been at a gig last week on a festival. It was called the Winds and Woods Meets Metal Festival in Leipzig, Germany, and we went there and had a great show, a great time. But this time it's not only about this time it wasn't only about going there, playing the show, enjoying it, but it was also about making something that really gives some value to the BluGuitar community. So I got my camera with me and I was filming all of the time and collected some footage. So I'm taking you with me behind the scenes of how it is to play a gig with a professional metal band. And there's another topic. It's not only about this actually, but it's also about another topic which we've been talking a lot about recently in the BluGuitar team internally with Thomas and Valeska and Andreas and all the guys. Thomas made an episode about it a couple of weeks ago, and it was basically about the guitar getting less and less present in modern music, less and less audible, less and less relevant in modern music, which is a development that is very unfortunate for, I guess, everyone who's watching the stream, because we guys are guitar players, aren't we? There may be a couple of reasons which are related to sound, which are related to how sound works nowadays. And this is something I want to shed light on in today's episode. So this is going to be the big topic. Now, before we are getting into this, I have another thing that I want to show you in a second. So at the last episode of Academy of Shred a month back, where we were talking about pedal boards and pedal board solutions for the modern guitar player, I've announced that we do the BluGuitar Community Jam, and people have asked for more information about this. So I put together a video last week, and I want to show it to you right now. All the information you need is given in that video. It's going to be a great project, and obviously we're hoping for a lot of people to participate. So without further ado, I'm going to show you the video that you'll find on the YouTube channel of BluGuitar very, very soon. Here we go. Hi everyone, this is Emmanuel from BluGuitar, and I am extremely happy and excited to announce our very first BluGuitar Community Jam. This is going to be an amazing community project where everyone who is proud owner of any kind of BluGuitar product can be part of. I have put together a backing track in the key of A minor because I know that most people are familiar with this key. Doesn't matter if you are a beginner or a full pro guitar player, we are happy to have you on the jam. If you want to be part of the jam, listen up right now, it's really simple. The first thing you have to do is to download the backing track. There's a link in the description of this video that will lead you directly to the download. It doesn't really matter if it's an improvised solo and if it's a first take, or if you spend days and weeks to get the perfect solo. This project is not about competing with each other. This is about the community of the electric guitar world. Once you got your solo down, you need to record it. We need a video file of you playing the solo, and we need an audio file as well. Make sure that whatever BluGuitar product you own is visible in the video. It can be a BluGuitar Amp1 amplifier, it can be a BluGuitar cabinet, it can be a BluGuitar guitar, or a Blue Box. Doesn't matter, but make sure that we can see it in the video. Besides the video file, we also need an audio file. It would be best to submit just your guitar audio. This means a raw track of your guitar recording as MP3 or WAV file. In case you're not submitting the files and formats requested, we're trying our best to get you on the jam, but we can't promise it. Deadline is the 21st of December by 12 o'clock midnight Central European Time. The final version of the Community Jam is going live on the 24th of December during our live stream. You can submit the files by sending them to the email you see on the screen right now. If the files are too large for an email, you can upload it to your cloud service of choice and send us the link. And in case you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us on our social media channels or via email. On behalf of the whole BluGuitar team, I want to say thank you to our amazing community. We are happy and proud to be with you, and without you, all of this wouldn't be possible. Let's make this Christmas something special by using the BluGuitar products for what they have been originally designed for: making music together. Yes, guys, so that was all the information you need. I don't want to repeat it, right? So we'll be uploading the same video that you've seen just a second ago very soon on the channel. If you want to go back and watch, get all the information, right, you can just go to our YouTube channel and rewatch the video. It's that simple to participate, and yeah, I mean, this is super exciting because it's something that we're going to do together. It's Wednesdays, BluGuitar live streams. It's always great to hang out with you guys, and we see you writing and the comments and everything. So it's already a great community feel. But this is something where we're getting like hands-on, working together on something, and I feel that this is an amazing project. In case you're not sure how to play over that backing track, I'm gonna make another section in an hour or so later during the stream where I explain you, even as a beginner, how to write a cool solo over the track. And yeah, I'm super excited to be hosting this. This is such a great thing. All right, let me play a couple of notes for you live. This is the Amp1 Iridium Edition, and here are my settings for tonight. It's going, there's no pedal in front. There's just this in the loop, but it's not activated right now. Amp1 Iridium, modern channel, kind of my favorite settings. Everything midway, just a little scoop on the mids, and then it goes into an EVH 4x12 impulse response, and this is how it sounds, guys. so much fun to play this setup. I'm playing this almost every day, and it's never getting boring. All right, so I've made an introduction where I was telling you about the festival that I was playing last week with my band Skytribe. By the way, I've seen that in some countries the stream was blocked during the song in the beginning, which is a very unfortunate thing. I wrote the song. It's my song and the other guys in the band. So it's completely legit for us to show it, but this is how it is in the internet sometimes. Anyway, as I told you before, I was on a festival gig last week, and I brought this pedal board with me, except for the M1 Mercury. I was using the Amp1 Iridium Live, as I mostly do with metal projects like Skytribe is. And there's an exciting backstory behind this. So I'm mostly playing with impulse responses live for the past 10 years. I'm 21, so I'm 21. Gosh, I'm 29. If I only would be 21. No, I'm getting old. I'm almost 30. So I'm 29 right now, and I started doing music professionally at the age of 18 when I joined the band Majesty. The first gig I ever did with the band was on the Out and Loud festival. I think it was like 14,000 people going there, and yeah, that was kind of my debut with the band. So that was kind of a great thing, getting out of school and joining quite a big band, and getting to tour quite early in my life. And yeah, from the beginning on, we were using solutions that were based on impulse responses. So it's a big thing for me to work with it, and it's what I'm used to, what I've always done. So this time, on this gig, I was kind of critically asking myself if this is the way to go for me for the time which is to come, because there are a couple of factors that are influencing the way I will be working on tour with a band like Skytribe. Skytribe is a newcomer band, so we don't have the budget to hire techs and our own sound engineer and things like this. Therefore, things are a little bit different, and I am considering to go back to the roots, which would be using a cabinet as well. But enough of that. I'm starting the video right now. I cut the video. It's quite a long video. It's an hour or so, because we were vlogging, and I did some comments right after the gig in the studio. I wanted to do it right after the gig because the impressions were still present in my head. So it's quite a long video, but I cut it in 3 pieces. So I'll be back here live in half an hour, and we're going to do the lick of the month and other fun stuff then. But for now, I'm going to leave you, and I'm forwarding you to the pre-recorded Emmanuel. So enjoy. I think it's a very cool project, a very cool video, and yeah, I hope you guys will enjoy. If you have any questions while we're watching it, still leave a comment. I'll be here all evening live. I'm going to answer your questions in the comment section, or I will take them with me and answer them once I'll be live again on video. All right? Have a nice time with the vlog, and yeah, see you in like half an hour.
Guide me to the place where I belong, a place for everyone to live in freedom. Once we were lost, banished and starved, desperately seeking
That was a very nice sounding live performance, wasn't it? Well, what if I told you that what you've just seen was nothing but fake? Hey everyone, my name is Emmanuel Noor. Welcome at the BluGuitar YouTube channel. Last week, my band Skytribe was booked on a festival in Leipzig, Germany. And I thought it would be a cool idea to bring you guys with me, show you everything about my guitar setup, and show you how life is on the road, basically, with a newcomer metal band that has serious ambitions, but it's still quite new in the market. And having played in quite a big metal band for almost a decade, I can tell you that it is really a big struggle for bands on low budgets to get a great sound when they're performing. Especially with the kind of music that we do, which features a very epic, bombastic arrangement with a lot of orchestral tracks and a lot of backing vocals and some quite aggressive drums, guitar riffing, guitar solos. That is something that's really challenging to get on stage the way it is supposed to sound. And what you've just seen in the beginning was a mediocre live video recording. However, what you've heard was the real studio version of the song. Maybe those of you who are a little more experienced may have noticed that there are some parts where things get slightly out of sync, just because, for the guitar solo, I play stuff different every night, obviously, and then the vocalist, she can't get every vibrato and every note duration the exact same way as on the album. And in case you are curious how it really sounded, I will show you the real camera audio clip later on in this video. But first of all, let me show you how everything began. Now, for this gig, unfortunately, our original vocalist, Doro, was unavailable due to health reasons, and that's why we had to team up with Lisa. She's an amazing vocalist from Leipzig, and it was great to work with her. We are extremely thankful that she learned all the songs within a week or so, and this was a situation that really wasn't planned. And that was the first challenge, really, so we don't have any rehearsal rooms in Leipzig, and for logistical reasons, it wasn't really possible to bring her here. And this is where our setup was a great advantage. So we go back a couple of days in time, and I'll show you around the place where we have stayed. I'll show around the setup, and I'll show you how we did rehearse there. Here we go. Alright guys, I thought I'd give you a little tour of the place where we're staying at. So everyone thinks that rock and roll is a glorious business, but as you can see, these wounded walls of Leipzig, Germany, sometimes it's also a little bit about the budget. So let me show you around. It's actually a nice place. It has quite a authentic, original kind of style. So we're getting in here. That's the entrance. And I'll take you to our main room, which happens to be the kitchen. Just had some breakfast. It's my pedal board, my Amp1 Iridium, which I'm gonna play tonight. Marcel doing some stuff as always. It's Robin practicing la guitarre. Robin, this is a nice looking guitar. What is this? Isn't it custom made?
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, and we were using it as a storage. Let me quickly explain what's going on with the rig. So I yesterday when we had the rehearsal, I was taking you through the signal chain on the board, so we don't need to do that again. Now board, everything as I explained yesterday, and then we're going, stereo setup, blue box and rock board mod impulse response loader, and as you can see, XLR cable is going directly into our rack, which is looking like this. Darf ich einmal durch? Darf ich kurz jetzt 2 Minuten nehmen einmal? 2 minutes. Alright, so this is a place where everything comes together. We are going into a splitter, which we also, which is quite simple to understand, I guess. So what we're having is a click track on our in-ears. We have a bass guitar, which is, shame on us, not played live, but it's a playback. We don't have a bass player yet. And we have a choir channel, because we have quite much choirs in our arrangements. Backing vocals, also a sample, keyboards left, keyboards right, so all the orchestral stuff, effects, whatnot comes from there. Got the rhythm guitar, our guitar, which is Robin, got the main vocals, then we got plenty of empty space for the drums because we didn't set up drums here in the kitchen. And I'm missing another guitar. Where is the, okay, it's this guitar. It's the lead guitar. Yeah, and down here we have our in-ear section. So everyone's playing with in-ear. And we're splitting the signals. And we're sending one to our Behringer. It's the XR18. And this is just for us, for mixing our in-ear signals. So we're not dependent on, you know, the live engineers. Basically, we can set it up the way we want it to have. This is a huge advantage because every venue is different. And, you know, like being independent is quite a good thing. And then signal split. And we're having everything prepared with this multi-core kind of cable, this big one here, right? So we're giving all the signals to the FOH, to the sound engineer, who's then mixing the sound of the PA separately. So this is quite a cool solution, we think. It's basically setting up the rack, then putting in the guitars and everything straight into the rack, and then, yeah, you know, we're done. Setting up the drums can be a little bit difficult sometimes. We actually plan to play with a trigger drum set, also to have consistency in the sound, but it's not always possible to bring our own drum sets at festivals and stuff for logistical reasons, and therefore we sometimes just use whatever kit is provided in the venue. But other than that, the rest is kind of set. Sometimes I'm playing with a cap if, again, logistically it's possible. If not, I'm relying mostly on my input responses, which is always a safe thing to have, but it's obviously more fun, right, to have a real cabinet on stage. All right, the guitar stand, Robin's guitars, custom guitars, my trustworthy and beloved Ibanez guitars. This is an Iron Label RG with some custom Klopman pickups. My other guitars upstairs. This is the BB. It's an amazing device. We're using this to you know, use the click track and the bass and the keyboards and the backing vocals, things like this. So everything that's playback is coming from here. Yeah, it's the setup we're having. So let me show you around a little in this nice place. It's a bathroom, which is extremely nice. I've never had in like 10 years plus that I'm doing this kind of stuff. Never had such a nice bathroom with a hub and everything. Really, really cool. Show you around upstairs. Some guitar cases and stuff. So this is my bedroom. I was practicing some guitar here in the morning, going through the songs again. This is my Ibanez AZ Premium. It's not the Prestige. Also with Klopman pickups. Yeah, I mean, not too exciting, I guess. And then upstairs we have the biggest room of this whole of this thing. So this would be actually a better choice to rehearse, but we didn't want to bring the rack and all the stuff up here. It's kind of a pain in the ass to carry so much weight. Yeah, so we just did it in the kitchen. And this is a really nice place. So when you're a band on tour and you have a stop in Leipzig, I think this is the place to be. This curly dude over here is my brother.
Hello, everybody.
My brother from the same mother.
Yes, I am.
Elias. He's doing some last minute changes to some of our tracks. So, you know, that we, as I've explained a second ago, we have all the orchestral elements, synthesizer effects, back vocals, whatever, being played back. And yeah, this is always a huge pain. So we're doing changes from gig to gig, but this is how it is. Yeah, and that's it. This is the place that we're living in for like 2 days, and yeah, cool cool kind of bass to do this kind of gig. Some acoustical treatment, quite funny. Yeah, so I guess that I'm now, I'm gonna have a quick shower, and then we're ready to pack the stuff and bring it to the venue, get to the venue, do load out, set everything up. Let's see how it is. I'll take you with me, that's for sure, and show you how it goes. So at this point in time, you should have an idea about the setup that we are using to play live. And the good thing about it is really that, this is something you can call a silent rig. Except for the drums, all the instruments and tracks involved are not dependent on any kind of loud acoustical source. Sometimes we're playing with a triggered live drum, which is also quite low in volume due to silent pads. However, this time we were playing with an acoustic kit, and obviously we weren't able to set this up in that place. Therefore, we prepared some tracks with drums on them already, which enabled us to rehearse with guitars and vocals. So literally, the neighbors were sleeping through the night while we were rehearsing in the kitchen. Hey everyone, so this is how professional bands do their band practice. We are in a kitchen. And yeah, this is our setup. This is my setup. So you see my rock board. I have these two pedals with me, but they don't do anything. The stuff that I'm going to use tomorrow is on the right side. So we got the Amp1 Iridium with my beloved settings. If you've seen the stream before, then you know these, right? Quite low in the mids, bass midway, treble midway, and then almost all the gain. I got my TC Electronic John Petrucci signature pedal for some clean tones, and then there's the rockboard tuner to make sure that I stay in tune while I do crazy stuff with the whammy bar. Wah-wah I need for just one song. And then I'm having a dual setup, so I cannot use a cabinet tomorrow as I planned. I do have the blue box here, and I have my rock board mod with the IR loader to make sure that I have two separate signals. Maybe I'm gonna play in stereo or mix them together. Let's see how it sounds tomorrow at the sound check. All right, guys, how's it going? Very good. All right. Yeah, so this is Lisa. Lisa from Texas. So we're having a situation here. Our main vocalist Doro, she can't join us. She's sick, unfortunately. And Lisa, she prepared all the songs within a couple of days, which is amazing. We got Marcel here. I was accepting troubleshooting all night, but everything is running smooth. That's what you get if you're using an F1. Yeah, so I'll keep you updated. See you guys tomorrow. Life on the road is not only considered work. If you ask me personally, it's also about enjoying the time, hanging out with your band, making friends, and just living the moment. And part of life is getting something to eat. And I'm usually the one in the band who, supplies food. I really love cooking. I really love eating, as you can tell. So yeah, why not showing you some of the footage where we're making food? I know the kitchen looked like a mess, but it was very hard to work in there. Very like poor knives and stuff like this. But hey, I managed to somehow get some kind of melted cheese sandwiches. We were having breakfast in this kitchen, which is very hard to work in. I tried to do some melted cheese sandwiches, but with the equipment we had, quite difficult to do. Anyways, we got something to eat, and I guess we're about to prepare for getting to the venue. So yeah, give another update soon. So that's the secret Skytribe recipe for the melted cheese sandwiches. First, get them toasted in a little bit of butter. Once they're toasted, some mayo on the crispy toasted side, like this. Both sides, to make it even more healthy. Then what comes on top is some shredded cheese. It's not enough, but we have more here. Be generous with the cheese, be generous with the butter. And then actually I had some dried tomatoes here, but we ran out of tomatoes. So we're gonna put some salad into it. Should do it after toasting actually, it would be better, but don't care right now. Need a second hand. This is how it looks before it goes into the pan. Here we go. Now we're gonna toast until golden brown and until the cheese is melted. And this is where all the shreds come from. Alright, you've seen the place where we're staying at. You know how we rehearsed. Stomachs are full, everything is packed. It is time to get to the venue. So let me introduce you to a person that you've seen during the video before. His name is Marcel. He is one of my, childhood friends. So we got to know each other when we were still going to school. And we've been friends ever since. It's been a long time, over a decade that we've known each other. We've worked together in Majesty, my metal band that was playing in before Skytribe, which was quite a big, medium-sized kind of band. And he was a guitar tech there. We had a band together, which didn't lead to anywhere, but it was still a fun time. And anyway, he also is a very ambitious musician. He didn't get to pro level, and he decided to do something else for his professional life. And it seems to be quite a reasonable decision because he's really successful at what he's doing. I'm super proud of him. I'm super happy to still be friends with him. It is something special if you get to know people at an early age and you look back like a history of 10, 12 years, right? I'm 29 right now and you're still friends. So Marcel is a very important person for me and also for the band. He's supporting us by helping out. He's supporting us with a lot of stuff. And yeah, he's invaluable for the band and also for me as a human being, as a person. And as his career is going really good, he's always showing up with some big cars. I personally love cars as well, or all sorts of different cars, but mostly I'm into like mid-price cars because I simply can't afford these kind of big cars. And anyway, it's still it's a very joyful thing to just be silly with him, sitting in the cars, and we are feeling like teenagers again. So. Let me show you what he showed up with this time. All right, guys. So this is kind of a weird and an amazing thing at the same time. This dude in there. This is Marcel. Mach mal kurz aus. He's one of my best and oldest friends. And we've played music together when we were kids and started out in one of our first bands and stuff. And he played in one of the early versions of Skytribe, let's put it like this. And then he worked as my guitar tech at Majesty. And at some point he just started to do good business instead of music. And this is why he ends up with such stuff. So he's one of the very early supporters of Skytribe. And he's coming with us whenever he can to some gigs. And this is the car that we've been traveling with. This is kind of, I don't know, it's unreal. I mean, this car is, I guess, around 200 grand or so of worth. It's an BMW M850i Grand Coupe. And just imagine traveling to a gig where we get paid very little with kind of a newcomer band in such a car. I mean, this is crazy. So let me show you around inside. So that's how it is inside. I'm being the passenger princess right now. Marcel's on the wheel. Yeah, so, I mean, the way I play the guitar, right? This is the way Marcel drives. It's like full throttle all the time. Oh my god, this is crazy. Bro! I'm Whoa! Yeah, so this is the way that we are transported in Skytribe with these cars. It's so loud. I mean, it's louder than an amplifier. I don't know how it sounds on camera, but it's so freaking loud. The V8 engine in here. Whoa! I'm speechless. This is fun times on the road. You guys know that I'm from Bremen, right? We're now in Leipzig. We're getting to the gig, and this is what they pinned here at the highway. Alright, so we've now arrived at the venue. I've played a lot of times in Leipzig before, mostly at the Hellraiser, which is kind of the metal venue in Leipzig. This time we've been playing in the Anchor, which was my first time playing there, and I was surprised. It was a great venue. We really had an amazing time there. All the staff there were polite and kind, and everyone was just nice, doing good at their jobs. Later on in the video, we were making a little fun of the catering. It was kind of not our kind of thing, but trust me, the event was great. Everything was great about it. So let me show you around the place. Alright, so we have arrived at the venue, Golden Anchor. I'll show you around inside. So that's the place that we're gonna ignite with shred, guitar tone, and heavy metal tonight. Looks like a quite nice venue. It's yeah, has a good vibe going on. Some merch booth, it's our shirts and signing cards. Guess this is where the backstage is, but take another way. Show you around upstairs. Where was it? Yeah, this is a good introduction to the backstage. Every venue should have something like this. Some guitars at the walls. And here we go. This is where our equipment is going to be put in a second. And this is how it looks from here. So, nice opportunity to watch the other bands. Drums are being set up right now. Lots of people on the stage, so very cool that they have quite a lot of techs on hands being involved in tonight's gig. I've definitely had worse first impressions of festivals, so looks very promising. We're now waiting for a parking spot to be available, and then we're loading out. Alright, so from general road life, we're getting back to sound-related topics. So we were the first band of the night. There was actually supposed to be another band before us with an unplugged setup. For some, again, health reasons, they weren't able to make the performance, and we were quite happy about this in a way, because we got to do sound check, which wasn't planned originally. Great sound, right? The guitar's on solo, I'm doing my sound check, the audio engineer is doing some kind of equalization sweeps and whatnot, and everything sounds really good for camera audio, I think. But things changed when we got to play with a full band setup. Now in this video, my job is to be dead honest about what I feel about the sound. And I want to make clear that whenever I'm talking in a more critical way, that this is not going against the sound engineer nor anyone else from the venue stuff. Everyone was very good at their job and very cool persons. So no offense, nothing against them. I'm talking about the pros and cons of my setup that I brought with me, that I decided to bring with me. Back to the topic. I really liked the sound when I was playing solo. It was a nice, juicy lead sound with lots of definition. You can hear all the notes, everything I'm doing. This is what I'm used from my Amp1 and the impulse responses that I used. And also for the rhythm guitar sound, once I deactivated the boost, everything was very tight, very chunky. Loved how it sounded. Things changed when we were playing with a full band. The part of the sound check that I've chosen to show you is a part where the other guitar player, Robin, was busy tuning his guitar or setting up something with his in-ear, so you don't hear him playing all of the time. This should make things a little easier for me, honestly, because I'm the only guitar player at times, which should increase audibility of my guitar. However, this didn't really work out, and there are a couple of reasons for it. First of all, being the lead guitar player in Skytribe, there are a lot of situations where I'm playing like leads within the song, so it's not, like rhythm, solo rhythm, but we are really arranging the songs in a way that the lead guitar plays something that is, well, should I say worth calling lead guitar? I think that's the wrong wording, but that is something that you could really consider a lead guitar instead of a second rhythm guitar. Specifically, that means that Robin is mostly responsible for everything that is quite low, being power chords, muted stuff, riffs, things like this. I also do this sometimes, but a lot of times what I do is playing melodies, playing higher octave riffs, playing stuff that can be considered more filigree. And that's really what you should be able to hear in this clip. Whilst Robin is playing some power chords in the pre-chorus, what I do is I'm playing some, mid to high kind of octave palm muted riff on the D and the G string. So that is considerably higher than what he plays in terms of musical octaves. In the chorus, I'm switching to melody, so I'm not playing anything that is typically rhythm guitar, that is typically associated with rhythm guitar, but this is real melody playing, similar to what you do in terms of guitar solos, in terms of the note choice that I do, the phrasing that I do. And this is also the part where he stopped playing due to the technical issues that he had. Still, my guitar is not audible too much. Now, an easy explanation would be that the guitar is just, turned down a little bit, that his guitar may be louder than mine, but this is not the case. We're both playing an IR setup here. And once I'm also joining and playing a riff after the chorus, you'll hear my guitar a lot better. This is when it really starts to cut through and gets audible in the video. And I think there's quite a simple reason for this. There's a lot of competition for the higher end frequency ranges of the guitar. We have vocals and we have cymbals. The vocals are supposed to be standing out of a mix all the time, and this is only natural. So naturally, the lead guitar is competing with vocals because they cover similar frequency areas. This is nothing that can't be fixed by side chaining or some specific EQing. However, naturally, this is something that is just a fact when you're looking at the typical frequency curves of vocals and lead guitars. The main factor that comes into play is the drums, really. This is a mid-sized venue. I think the max capacity is about 800, but we were far away from this, so I think we had like 200 or 300 people that night. And what I'm going to explain to you right now is something that is really important to know for the rest of the video. When you're playing in a big venue, the acoustic power, the acoustic volume of a drum kit doesn't come into play too much, because the distance between stage and crowd is usually quite high. Therefore, the natural volume of any loud acoustic source on stage, like a drum kit, is not that relevant anymore. Thus, in a big venue, what you're hearing is mainly the full mix from the PA. Smaller venues, as in our gigs, are usually having a hard time to find a good setup for the PA. So if you're pointing it towards the first rows, no one's going to hear in the back. If you're pointing it towards the back, no one's going to hear in the first row. And this is usually what happens. It'll always be a compromise. When there's no distance between stage and crowd, you can set up the PA in an angle that makes everyone happy. The result, the PA is not an ideal angle for those in the first rows. You are quite close to the drum set, and well, this can ruin your mix. And this is a very common problem, which some people call like the first row problem. And you can really hear in the video that once the cameraman is in the center, the guitar gets less loud, and the cymbals of the drum and the drum kit generally overall is getting even louder. Now, once I'm switching to the riff in the end, to the low note riff, you'll hear that the guitar gets more audible again.
Feel the spirit of the night.
The bass frequencies that are more present when I'm playing such a low riff or cutting through a little bit better. It's not only that you can hear them, but you can also feel them. This is really where the air starts to move. This is really where the subwoofers of the PA start to kick in. This is not the case with lead guitar. Also, there's less competition down there. We have the kick drum, which is nothing that is a consistent source of sound. So it's getting in, it's getting out. We have the bass guitar, which is usually, again, a little bit lower. However, a proper rhythm guitar tone for metal guitar mostly has quite some presence in the 200 to 500 hertz frequency area. So these are some observations that you should keep in mind watching the rest of the video that we've now made while looking back at the sound check. Before we start with the gig, I want to show you how our setup looks and works on stage. Here we go.
Alright guys, stage is set up. My main guitar, I'm gonna say that with Klopman hammer and pickups tonight. Drum kit, we're using the local drum kit. This is Elias, the drummer. Just had some issues with the crash cymbal, if they were quite too loud. This is our rack, so this is where everything is set up, and we are splitting everything, so we have our own mixing. We have our own mixing station, and then everything goes into the house sound electronics. Take a look at my guitar set up. So we've seen the board already during the rehearsal, but this is how it looks on stage, right? It's on my beloved rock board. And yeah, it just sounds great. It's so simple. As I said before, these guys are not working anyway. It's just the stuff over here, and that's it really. What else we got, right? Our backdrop is now installed. We have the side knobs. We have new lights that we're using first time today. We got the fog machines ready. So I'm super hyped for the show. And yeah, my guitar tech, I said, is gonna take you guys with us during the concert. So hope you guys enjoy it.
All right, guys. So that was the first part of the vlog, and I'm glad that you know, you guys seem to enjoy it. I've checked in the comments, and yeah, it sounds great. So please let me know if you want to see more of this, because you know, what I do for a living is making music. So occasionally it happens that I'm being, you know, somewhere playing gigs with certain acts, and usually I bring this device with me. So if you want to see more of this content where the Amp1 is used in more or less like a professional live situation, right, then let us know, and I'm trying to make this happen. Now I am back here live, and we're switched to the side cam because I want to show you something. Right now I'm using this amplifier, which happens to be the Amp1 Mercury, and this is how it sounds right now. Alright, as you can see, I enjoy this amplifier as much as I do enjoy the BluGuitar Amp1 Iridium, which I'm usually associated with. Right now I'm just playing the amp, so everything you've heard is the amp modern channel, right? And then again, you know, on the settings, everything kind of midway, a little low on the treble this time. Obviously boost is turned on, boost is I think maxed out, or almost maxed out. And yeah, and then it's going through a custom impulse response again. So compared to the Amp1 Iridium, right, this does sound a little more vintage, even in the modern channel, but this is really what I like about it. It sounds a little more full, less tight, which is great when you're playing solos and noodling around. So let's compare them hat to hat with the same impulse response, by the way. This is the Amp1 Mercury. Now we're going for the Iridium. Right, so very different in the way that they sound, but you know, a little bit different on the settings and everything. So I didn't really do an effort to make them sound the same, but what I want to bring across is I enjoy both of them. They both have different strengths, and they both are perfectly fine for metal. Okay, now we're in the middle of the vlog, and I think there's quite some, you know, some cool stuff going on there. We've now seen how it is nowadays, right? If you're on the road with a band like Skytribe is, and you know, some may not be surprised because they are also playing in a band that is doing this kind of stuff. Some may be surprised, right, because it may not be as glorious as you guys may think of. So it's a tough business. You're not getting paid too much, right? So that's why we can't afford hotel rooms separately for everyone or things like this. You know, we really have to look after after the budget, but you know, it's always a nice time. We're like a family. We're living like a family, as you've seen, right? We're eating together. We're hanging out. We're having a great time. We're working together on you know, rehearsals, on improving the tracks and everything. So just great vibes going on. We will go on with the actual gig. So that is what is going to be the main topic for today, right? We'll take a look at the sound of the guitar when the gig was actually happening, and no more, you know, fake layerings with original recordings. This is all camera audio, what you're about to hear in the next part of the vlog, and this will give us an impression of how things sound in the room. But before we go back to the vlog, I want to do a thing which we have established last time, which is called the lick of the month. So I changed a couple of things for this kind of stuff, and here we go. So right now you should be able to see some tabs in the screen, which should make it easier to follow what I am about to explain to you. Last time I did do some crazy two-finger tapping stuff. Right, which I've heard that many couldn't follow it along because it's quite a sophisticated technique. I like to go crazy with this stuff, but you're right. This is nothing to start out if you want to get into shred guitar. I know some of you guys are pros who are watching, but some of you guys are interested in, you know, learning some of the faster kind of licks, and this was a little bit too much. So we did, so I did, you know, scale things down a little bit. Still, this is a very nice lick, and it can be quite difficult to do, but I'm going to explain it in a way that you can play it when you're a beginner, and then you can, you know, apply some other techniques to play the same kind of stuff when you are a little bit more advanced. So this is kind of, you know, my favorite pentatonic lick, I would say, and it looks very, very simple. It's 4 notes and then repeat it. So we're in the key of E minor pentatonic, and this is how it goes. Right, so basically, you know, just pentatonic, play it in a row, 4 notes. So we got the 15th fret on the E string, we got the 12th fret on the E string, and then the same frets for the B string as well. And it's that simple, but once you're getting it up to speed and picking every note, it sounds like this. So I'm going to get rid of the tab for a second, so you can see my right hand the way I'm playing it right now. Right, this is the way I like to play it. What I'm doing here is I'm doing economy picking. So this is a very cool technique that can be considered an advanced technique. It's nothing you would want to start out with. But when you're a little bit into picking and you feel that you've reached a plateau and you don't get faster and the movements, you know, don't feel natural, this may be something that may help you out. I do it all the time, economy picking, and it's one of my favorite techniques and my main technique when it comes to picking. So economy picking is actually another word for sweep picking, and when we hear the term sweep picking, you know, we usually think about something like this. Things like this, like arpeggios. This is what we usually think about when we hear the term sweep picking. Now, economy picking, as I said, it's the same. It's essentially the same thing as sweep picking. Only means that we're taking the fastest path to the next string. So when we're doing alternate picking, right, we're doing up and down strokes all the time. Once you've played an upstroke, you have to play a downstroke. Once you play the downstroke, you have to play an upstroke. And this is something that can be quite uncomfortable sometimes when we need to cross strings. So yeah, let me give you an example. If I was playing the lick I've just showed you, right, and I would start with a downstroke. I'd go downstroke, upstroke, and now I have to play a downstroke again. However, a downstroke is a downward movement. And as we're physically going, in terms of pitch, we're going down, but physically we're going up, right? So we're ending on a we're ending on an upstroke. We need to play a downward movement while going up, and this movement, you can try it out as you're watching. It kind of feels unnatural and uncomfortable to a lot of guitar players, right? So just trying to play this very slow, even if you're a beginner and if you're not into shred guitar at all, this is just something to try out, right? Down, up, 4 notes. And this is what picking scientists call an outside string change, because you're breaking outside of the strings and then you're hitting the string. You could slightly modify it and make it an inside picking version. If you want to do that, you would need to start an upstroke. So then it would be upstroke on the first note, down on the second, up on the third, down on the fourth. I'm adjusting the noise gate quickly because it's cutting off some of the notes. Up, down, up, down. This is something, you know, it will become an inside picking, inside string change here, because when we're starting an upstroke and we're going for a downstroke on the second note, we're going up So we're making an upstroke, and this may feel a little bit more comfortable to some of you because we are actually playing a note that is physically located above the note that we just played. So we're not breaking free of the strings. We're staying, kind of in the radar or in between the strings. And this is why this is called an inside string change, right? So outside picking would be down, up, down, up. And then inside picking would be up, down, up, down. Right? Okay. Now, this is something I did for years, and I didn't practice it in a while, but I guess I can still somehow get it up to speed. Like, not the best synchronization, but it works somehow. However, let's get back to the topic of economy picking or speed picking. So you can do something like, oh, sorry, just a second, someone's calling me. So you can do something like this. You start on a downstroke, then you're going on with an upstroke. And instead of sticking to the alternate picking way of doing things, we do a second upstroke in a row. So it will be down, up, up. May feel weird, but this is how it looks like. Right, and this is where I guess some of you guys can see, parallels to sweep picking. Right, this movement, this is a sweeping movement. This is 2 note per string pentatonic scale kind of picking, which is usually not associated with sweeping, but this is an actual sweeping movement. Right, what is to follow then is a downstroke. So down, up, up, down. Right? Now, if you're trying this out and you feel comfortable with it, it may be that you can easily, get one run of this lick down quickly. The issues occurring when we want to repeat the lick, when we want to loop it, and this is usually how it is played. You're not going to play just 4 notes and then leave it, right? Sorry. Guess you not want to use it like this. What you want to do is getting this, rapid fire kind of effect by just looping the lick over and over again. That's how I like to use it. And this is where the second movement comes into place that may feel a little bit weird. So once we did the downstroke on the last note of the B string, we have to play a second downstroke to get back to the E string. So we have down, up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down, up, up. So it becomes down, down, up, up, down, down, up, up. So and this is where we get the sweeping movement, right? Yeah, and this is, something that it may feel weird in the beginning, but it's certainly worth it. You get the sound, this rapid fire picking sound, and it's a very efficient movement, right? And however you want to call it, people call it sweeping, people call it economy picking. There was some called efficiency picking, right? So there are many names, but it all describes the same kind of phenomenon, which is getting to the next string the fastest way that you can possibly do, even if it means that you need to do 2 downstrokes or 2 upstrokes in a row. This can be considered quite advanced. So if I was you, I would just try it out every way with, inside picking, outside picking, and then economy picking as well, which is effectively inside picking. But let's say that you are, starting out with this kind of stuff and you don't feel comfortable with picking every note, it's absolutely okay, because that's a little workaround. You can just play pull-offs. It still sounds great. So this is how it sounds with pull-offs. Right? Some even do a bar with the first finger. I don't usually recommend it, but it may be a nice way to start out. So you're just holding a bar down on the 12th fret. And then, you may even be able to get the string changes done faster. I don't usually recommend using bars when you don't need to, because there may be a situation where you want to play the same kind of lick, but it doesn't really work that way. So if you're playing somewhere else on the fretboard, right? So I recommend, even if you do the pull-off version, right, to do it without a bar, but just to move your fingers to whatever fret you're playing. And when I do this, still the picking hand is important, right? Because we're picking half of it, 50%. So pick, pull off, pick, pull off. In this case, I would do something like an alternate picking movement, and this should be quite comfortable because it feels very natural to alternate between these strings. So downstroke on the E string, pull off, and then you go for an upstroke on the B string, pull off. So we got. That spot on the 15th fret of the E string. Oh no. Anyway, so that's how the lick goes. My favorite version is the economy picking version. I totally understand if that's too difficult, but if that's the case, and if you're used to alternate picking, you can try it with alternate picking. And if you're completely new to this kind of stuff, just do the pull-offs and it will do the trick. All right. There's an alternative version of this lick, which I also prepared for you. And here are the tabs. So you can't see my right hand when the tabs are on screen, but you don't need to, because you now know what's going on with the picking hand, right? So for this version, it's the exact same stuff. The only thing that we're doing differently here is, changing some of the notes. So we start out with the same lick that we just did, 15, 12, 15, 12. And you can just play a different note on the E string. So instead of playing 15, we're going to play 14. We're breaking out of our pentatonic here. This is an F sharp, which is not part of the E minor pentatonic, but of the E minor scale. So alternating between these two versions already sounds great. Sorry. Right? And if your pinky is in good shape, what you can do is you can also go to the 17th fret and start from there. So right, and if you're mixing everything up, then it sounds like this when it's played fast with economy picking. This is what Zach Wild does all the time, this kind of flick, right? He's playing it with alternate picking, but he's an alternate picking machine. I prefer to do it with economy picking. My heating system is not working right now. I don't know if you can see it in the side cam. So I got this electric heater right now here because I did mess with the electrics of my house, and unfortunately the kitchen where the heating system is located, there's no electricity running there. So I had to get this this portable electric heater to make sure that I'm not freezing. It's quite cold in here, so maybe there are days where I could play a little bit better and cleaner, but this is how it is today. And again, you can play the same bunch of notes with hammer-ons and pull-offs as well. So we're getting rid of the tabs, and this is how it sounds with hammer-ons and pull-offs. Right? If you're not familiar with shred guitar, this may look very difficult, but this is actually quite easy. And once you spend a couple of hours or whatever to get this done, you'll have a great time playing this. This is something you can use in like every solo. You can also use it with other notes, right? This is just an example I made up, but when you know the pentatonic scale, right, and let's say you're somewhere in the G string, can do the same kind of thing there by applying the same technique, right? And also with the picking stuff, right? If you decide to do it in the picking version, right, this is a great shape to have in your vocabulary. So very simple stuff, but once you get it down, you can use it all across the fretboard and get comfortable with it and practice it, and just have another pattern in your vocabulary that may help you out in a couple of situations. All right, let me quickly check the comment section because I was focused on showing you how that lick goes. Here we go. All right. There's some kind of issue with my chat. What is this? What is this? Oh no, now it's working. All right. So he's adjusting his sound to the acoustics of the venue/hall. School of Skills. You've asked that like when the Blug was still playing, so it's a good question. I'm not adjusting the sound, right? I set the sound up the way I like it. So it's kind of my favorite sound that I hear, but I'm using in-ears. So I'm only hearing what is coming through my in-ear mix. Everyone in the band has an in-ear system, and we have an app and our own mixing desk where we connect it and then we can set up our own mix. And this is a great advantage because obviously I want to hear my guitar quite loud. The vocalist wants to hear the vocals quite loud. So everyone can just, without annoying anyone, make his own or her own mix, and then just get through the night with a good sound in their ears. The sound engineer in the venue, he's adjusting the sound of the PA, and this is what everyone's hearing. And we'll come to that when we're going on with the vlog, but the PA, you're 100% dependent on what they do with the PA when you're playing with impulse responses, because there's no amp on stage. All right, enough about that. And the pick goes stuck between the strings, so upward pick, escape, pick slanting. Exactly. Yeah, you got it, Svenny. This is what I also really like. I like to have to do inside picking changes because this just feels comfortable for me. You said that it can feel like the pick sticks between the strings, and this is certainly an issue that you may run into when you do inside picking for the first time, but this is what I feel comfortable with. I really like it when I'm tight in between the strings, and I prefer inside picking over outside picking, but this is just my personal approach, and there's no disadvantage of outside picking. Other than when you're playing economy picking, you have to be kind of an inside picker, otherwise it doesn't work. But outside picking is another great technique that does all the stuff that you need. Looking is so easy, but when your whole life up down, you will no more learn this. Seitenschuft. I guess it's never too late. I was also doing it outside picking for years. And then I really did spend a couple of months practicing it every night for 5 minutes, and it's still not where other licks of mine are. Right, there are other licks that I can play way more with way more self-consciousness. But this is a very nice thing. I've been doing it economy picking for like a year and a half or so. I don't play 2 notes per string too much, so this is not my go-to technique, but it's a very cool thing. And I guess if I'm keeping to work on it just a couple of minutes per day, you know, in a year or two, this will be something that I'm quite happy about. Economy picking is a technique that is super efficient. That this is why it is existing. And yeah, part of it is to also get things like this down, and not having to think about it once you got them down. So you know, if you find this interesting, I would just, you know, give it a couple of minutes per day. That is enough. I also don't do more than that. You know, right now I'm practicing like 5 or 10 minutes of economy picking per day. Obviously, I did do more when I was younger and had more time, and this, you know, it gives me an advantage over someone who's just starting out with economy picking. But you know, once you're on a certain level, you don't have to spend crazy amounts of time to get it sound good. Yes, you can. I believe in you. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. All right, Cracking the Code. Yeah, exactly. That's Cracking the Code. Amazing series where Troy Grady is explaining all bits and pieces about picking technique. This guy's crazy, and the guitar picking community owes him a lot. All right. Yeah, and Svenny also, you know, there's another point you made here. No joke, just play it fast to get the feel of it, and then gotta work on accuracy. This is also something that I truly believe in. You know, John Petrucci in the 90s, when he released the video lesson called Rock Discipline, right? He said the exact same thing. This is a legendary video that, you know, like every shred guitar player did take a few looks at, I suppose. And you know, when you're not able to play fast, you didn't play fast before, there's a certain, almost feels like a you know, like a mental thing. You're shy of playing fast. You're afraid of playing fast, of making mistakes. And it's good to have respect, you know, to have respect of every kind of playing, the same way I have respect of blues players. And you know, even if I can read the tabs and technically play something, they have a tone, they have a certain kind of phrasing and a certain type of timing that I just can't do right now. So I'm always also sometimes, you know, very careful with how I try to play licks of other people, especially from genres that I'm not home at. But yeah, this is a great thing. Just try to play fast. Doesn't matter if it's sloppy and if you're not hitting the notes. It's just about getting the feel of it to really, you know, be brave and make this step. And once you get used to the feel, you can work on accuracy. But yeah, be careful with this method. You know, it is a great method, but it's also quite dangerous, because, you know, it's not meant to make you play faster than you actually can when you're serious about playing, right? If the string synchronization and the left and right hand synchronization and the string changes and everything is not fluid technically, then yeah, you're going to get sloppy quite fast, and this is something you want to avoid, right? Okay, let's go. Yeah, music is not a question of speed, but still is a great technique, what Emmanuel is showing. And yeah, Seitenschuft, these are true words, right? Because you know, I really like to play fast. No need to hide this. But playing fast, playing slow, playing hard, playing, you know, light, playing with a lot of expression, playing technical music, playing very easy music, it's all, you know, expressing ourselves musically. So these are all stylistic elements that, you know, are part of music. And occasionally it happens that, you know, someone like me is preferring a certain way of playing more than another one, for various reasons, because I'm fascinated by it, because it inspires me, because motivates me. This is why I like to play fast. But I never ever claim that playing fast is better than playing slow or whatever. It's just the way I like to do it. And even if you're not a full-on shred guy like I am, you know, it may be cool to have some of these tricks in your tool case, because occasionally it may happen that you also want to play fast sometimes. The same way I also have some, you know, some tricks of other styles of playing in my tool case, and I can pull them out when I need them, right? Okay, cool. right, I found. Yeah, Svenny is sharing some experiences about his picking journey, which are quite interesting, and I can see a lot of stuff that I've gone through as well, like, you know, watching Ingvi and cracking the code. You are on the right road. If you think that the way I play the guitar with the way that I pick is desirable, then this is the stuff that I've watched as well. Ingvi, John Petrucci, and cracking the code. Big influences on my picking. All right, guys. Thanks, for being present, for being in the chat. It's very joyful to hang out with you. But I guess we are going on with the main topic for today, which was playing live with impulse responses and all the good and bad things about it. So we're going on with the vlog part 2 of 3. Yeah, you actually get to see and hear some of the live performance. No fake, real camera audio. And my comments. Pay attention. This is going to be a very personal analysis of mine they will see. So we'll have snippets of the show and then me explaining what I think about it, honestly, without no wrong opinions, nothing to hide, nothing to be afraid of. This is just me telling you what I think about my sound on that day. Here we go. Now I'm here. Now we're approaching stage time, and what I do before getting on stage is trying to play a little bit of guitar, to do some random exercise and shred, just to, be warmed up once I get on stage. This is how it looks like. And warning, this can be pretty annoying for those ones who don't like shred.
Emanuel. Und, schon Bock auf den Auftritt?
Ja, aber ich habe gerade ein bisschen mehr Bock, einfach zu schleppen.
Wie fandest du das Catering hier?
Ein Kommentar. Warte, okay, ich sagte, wie ich das Catering fand.
Now it's time for the gig. The first clip I want to show you is King of the Sky, which is the first song that we've released with Skytribe, and it was the song that you've seen at the beginning of this video. So we are taking a look at the original camera audio, and you'll hear how it sounds for real. honestly, watching back that clip is quite a disappointing moment. Let's not get into this whole lead guitarists think they're amazing and whatnot kind of discussion. Let's look at it from this perspective. You see a musician who has been dedicating his life to making art, who has been practicing a lot, working on skills, on the songs, on everything a lot. Get in there, did the sound check, did the setup, is stressed out, is excited, and wants people, wants to show the art that he's doing. And now this exact guy is playing his ass off, and you can't hear him. And this is exactly what happens when you're in the first row. The sound was better. I was told that the sound was way better the further you got away from the stage, because the drums, the influence got smaller, and also the overall mix of the PA kicked in, where the guitar was obviously more audible. But I want to play a show for everyone in the room, not those people who have the best seats or the best places. We have another even worse example of another gig that I've played in the past, which I will show you towards the end of the video. But let's go on with another song. The next clip I'm going to show you is the last song. So by then, the audio engineers, they did everything they could to get the best out of it they possibly could, and this may be why the sound is slightly better here. Still, we are having some issues. This song is called Time to Unite, and unfortunately on this song I can't show you the original audio as I did it with King of the Sky, because this song is not released by the time this video is out. So we gotta work with camera audio here. As there's only my guitar being played in the intro, obviously you can hear it. But again, as the band is kicking in, the guitar gets into the background. This is not supposed to be, and this is not how it is on the album, because this is quite an important part of the arrangement for Time to Unite. The vocals are pushing the guitar away again, the drums are pushing the guitar away again, and obviously, vocals are supposed to be the central element of the song there. So one can argue that the vocals obviously need to be louder. But listen to the guitar solo. Again, the riff that I've been playing in the intro is quite a lead guitarish kind of thing. So I'm not playing low notes, I'm playing high notes. And once the vocals kick in, it's only natural that they're competing quite a lot there. But when I'm playing the guitar solo, I should be the one who's in focus, shouldn't I? And again, being heavily involved in writing and mixing the song, the studio version of it, I can tell you that this is not how it is supposed to sound. We are again under the influence of row 1. Next case, Rise and High. Again, not released, so we only have camera audio. We're kicking in at the solo, and then we're going for the last chorus and the end part, which is kind of a breakdown. So here it is. Same story again. When I'm playing the guitar solo, you can barely hear it. I mean, it's a little better as with King of the Sky, I believe. But again, it's not what it's supposed to be. However, things get better once I'm going back to rhythm guitar again, because, you know, low frequencies, we're not competing with the vocals, or we're competing less with the vocals. Subwoofers do their job. All the factors are getting into account again. And then there's quite a nice thing. So the guitars are panned, right? I was playing in mono, the other guitar player was playing in mono, so no one of us is having a stereo setup. And then we're, you know, having this ping pong kind of thing going. So he's playing a group of 3, I'm playing a group of 3, he's playing, I'm playing, he's playing, I'm playing. We're going back and forth. And this is something that worked out quite nicely on this occasion. The last clip that we're taking a look at from this gig is called Give It Up. Again, unreleased song. Same story. We'll take a look at the guitar solo. And again, you can barely hear the guitar. I'm playing, you know, like my life would depend on it. And no one from the first 2 or 3 rows was able to really hear what I was doing. So this is not how it is supposed to be. This is an issue. Now there's a clip I can actually show you, which is from a live performance from Guitar Summit from the BluGuitar booth. So in this clip, I was again playing with an IR setup using the Blue box. And this is an occasion where it worked great. Everyone was having headphones, so that was the first thing that really, you know, takes everything that is acoustically present out of the equation, but we didn't have any proper acoustic source here. There was no drum kit, nothing. It was just a playback and me playing guitar. So that was really an ideal situation to use an IR setup. So see me playing the solo for the same track at the Guitar Summit this year. Alright, now, I told you that I've played a gig where, you know, actually one of my biggest nightmares as a musician playing with such a setup, you know, became real. We were playing at the Power of the Dragonflame Festival, which was, again, a great festival. Loved the people there, loved everything about the festival. But when you're playing live gigs, you know, occasionally mistakes happen. And this was the case with this gig. There was some kind of issue with the local sound crew getting our signals to their mixing board. I think it was a broken cable, or they just plugged the cable at the wrong place, and therefore my guitar was not even on their board for the majority of the show, for like 60 or 70% of the show. And what this means is that I was playing and I was hearing myself almost perfectly with my in-ear headphones, but the crowd didn't hear me. So imagine me playing all my guitar solos and everything, you know, making the show, making faces, having a good time, and no one hearing me. Was one of the most frustrating experiences I ever had in my life, to be honest. It breaks my heart, but here's a clip of that festival because we recorded the full show, and here's how it looked. Me playing guitar solo, sounding epic in my ears, and no one hearing me in the crowd. Alright, that's it with the gig. I sum up my thoughts in the end. But before we do so, here's the clip of us getting home. I got to drive Marcel's car, which, you know, was way fun, as you'll be able to tell in a second.
Ich zähle gleich bis 3 und dann schreit ihr so laut es geht. Ich nehme das auf und zeige das allen Bremern, alles klar? Wir üben das mal ganz kurz. Leipzig. 1, 2, 3. Ja, das wird meine Jungs aber nicht überzeugen. Noch eine zweite Übung. 1, 2, 3. Leipzig. Jetzt machen wir ernst. Wo feiert man die geilsten Metal-Partys? In Leipzig? 1, 2, 3. Hi everyone, so we're back in the car. It's the day after the gig. You know, yesterday was quite stressful, as we only have one tech in our crew currently, and yeah, you know, there were other bands playing straight after us. We had to be quite quick with the equipment and everything. Yeah, so it didn't really work out filming more. But you've seen the setup, you've seen quite some footage from the gig, so I guess that's alright. We're now on the way back to Bremen. My friend Marcel let me drive his amazing car, which is kind of another amazing moment after the gig. The car is packed, by the way, so this is how it looks. Yeah, we're 1 hour from home. Everything went quite smooth. I'll give you a little update once I'm back home, but before we leave you, I want to show you the acceleration of this car. This is I don't know, this is something else. And you can only do this in Germany, so don't try it home. So look at this. This is how it is in Germany. Playing a show, a metal show, and then after the Alright guys, here I am back. Yeah, so that was how the gig went. You've seen some footage. No fake, no overdub, no layering, whatever. That was the real deal, how it sounded in the room. And, you know, as you've just heard me explaining right after the gig, I was not quite satisfied with it. There's nothing around it. There's no way around it. So I'm gonna be honest with you. This is not how it is supposed to sound. The guitars are a very important element in Skytribe. This is metal music. There's a lot of stuff going on, as I said, orchestral elements, drums, backing vocals, all of this. But this is no excuse for not having the guitar being one of the main parts of the music. And therefore, you know, I was being quite disappointed. The rig sounds great. I'm having, you know, my in-ear mix. It sounds amazing there. And if you're stepping if you're going a couple of steps back, unfortunately we don't have more footage of this. It sounds better already. But this is really one of the problems that you have with impulse responses being used live. It can be different. You can have a great impulse response based setup. However, didn't really work out in this situation. I'm going to explain you a little bit more about this in a second when we're going for the last part of the vlog. That one's quite short, like 10 minutes or so nothing crazy, but it really sums up my feelings when I got back from the gig back home. This is why I recorded a couple of days ago, because, you know, it just felt right to do it right after the gig, because everything was still, you know, fresh in my head. All right, but before we do so, we want to play a little of guitar here, don't we?
So taking a look at the comment sections. If you like what my band is doing, feel free to check it out. I'm thankful for everyone who's supporting us. We got 2 singles on YouTube. One is called King of the Sky. You've heard that in the beginning, and then the other one is called Legacy of Life. We'll take this as the outro today, so you hear Legacy of Life as well towards the end of the stream. And yeah, we have a couple of gigs coming up. The next one is next month, and on the 28th of December in Runkel, which is located, I think, towards the south of Hessen, Germany. So somewhere around, like, I guess it's in between Frankfurt and Cologne or something like this. So if you want to check us out live, this is going to be the next opportunity to do so. But let's get back to the stream and to other topics. So in the beginning, I was, again, elaborating a little bit on the BluGuitar Community Jam that we're having planned right now. And I promised you that I will show you how to work with it, even if you are a beginner. So what I'm going to do now is I'm preparing something here in the background whilst I'm talking, which is putting the backing track into my DAW. Alright, here we go. So I can show you around my my setup here very quick. This is how it looks on my second screen. I'm having 2 screens, and yeah, this is how it looks. So this is where all the sound is coming from. I'm right now again on my Mercury with a Mod 5 by Rockboard, and I have a custom impulse response loaded in that. And here is the backing track that I was soloing over for the Community Jam. So you see how it looks. Very simple setup, nothing going on here almost. So we get back to the main camera. The backing track is composed in a way that it works with a minor pentatonic. There's a kind of majory twist on the second chord, and if you are a little bit more, knowledgeable in terms of music theory, you can do some very cool stuff there. But let me show you how it sounds just with a minor pentatonic. Here we go. Was just some very random non-thinking pentatonic noodling with some odd weird timing, so that was my best take. But you still feel that it kind of sounds all right, doesn't it? So even if you're not a shred professional, like, just give it a go. When you're a blues guitar player, it really works. Like, don't get irritated by the heavy drums and the low tuned guitar and everything. Something that will work with everything that you throw at it when you're playing the minor pentatonic. So that was just very random right now, but I'm gonna do something. I want to explain you something that can even bring this track to the next level, even if you're not, again, too knowledgeable with music theory. So we got the A minor pentatonic, and the second chord, as said, is doing something special. We're going on on a major chord there, as opposed to a minor chord that would usually be in the key of minor on that degree of the scale. So the second chord is very, very cool if you're picking the right note. So let's take a listen to this. Right, so what I try to do on this one is focusing one very specific note when we got to the second chord of the chord progression. So that was a D note. And as you can hear, when you're using the D note, which is part of the A minor pentatonic on different spaces, on different degrees in the scale, right? It sounds really cool on the second chord. So A minor pentatonic. Here's a D note, fifth fret of the A string. There's a second D note. It's on the seventh fret of the G string. That will be the next. That will be the next D, 10th fret of the E string. I know that's not part of the first position, but you can get there easily. And again, try to listen to that second chord of the chord progression, and try to listen to the vibe you get when I'm hitting the D note on that chord. Right, so you hear that is really the note that you want to play over it when you're playing A minor pentatonic. Let's try to get to another note we can focus on that very second chord. So let's get here to the note C sharp or a D flat, same thing. So this is a note that you don't typically have in the pentatonic scale, but you can use very nice over it. I don't want to get too much into the theory of it right now, because I know it can be overwhelming, but just from the perspective of a beginner, this is how you can find the note. So this is how you would usually play the pentatonic scale, but if you play the fourth fret on the A string and then go to the fifth fret, the same note on the G string, which would be the sixth fret of the G string, it will sound even nicer on the second chord. So I'm trying to point this out right now, and yeah, I want to hear what you guys think about it. So this really gives it this kind of more creative modal vibe, even, if you will. So this is something you can try to focus on, right? Either playing the D note or playing the D flat note, and then by that making it sound this like a little bit weirdy, creative, modal kind of way. Okay, guys. It was just something I wanted to show you, because I know many people want to participate in our project, but they feel that they're not there yet. And again, it's not a competition, it's just a community jam. So it's about hanging out together, making music together, beginners, advanced, doesn't really matter. Okay, let's see what is going on in the comments section. So people are expressing their thoughts on the guitar solos not being heard during the show. Yeah. I completely agree. It's very frustrating, but this is what it is. Yeah, and I posted a link to the next gig that we're playing on the No Sleep After Xmas Festival, which, if you're close to that, just, feel free to come around, say hi. I'm going to be there, certainly, and play my show. Yeah, Svenny made a great comment. So when you're not heard, it may be better to not know that the audience doesn't hear you, because you'll be pissed then, and this is going to be visible. You know, I had this the snippet from the other gig I showed you where I wasn't there at all. My sound wasn't there at all, right? Once I realized that, because there were texts running around the stage at some point, and trying to fix the cable that they did wrong, I started to understand that something is something is happening there, and this made me look very angry for the rest of the gig. I mean, they fixed it, but we were like more than halfway through the gig, so that was a bad day for me. Anyway, all right. I guess it's time for the last part of the vlog. It's now only going to be me in the studio, but I'm summing up my thoughts about how I felt with the gig, and what I may do different next time. We'll take a look at this, and I'll meet you again for just a short time, and we'll discuss what I'm about to explain right now. Now I'm here. It's been a couple of days. It is Tuesday right now. We played on Friday, so I was rewatching all of the clips. I was preparing for the live stream. I have analyzed everything, and here are my closing thoughts about this topic. Impulse responses are great, and honestly, I couldn't live without them anymore. They are invaluable in studio situations and live situations, and they are basically the perfect guitar sound in a to-go kind of format. For very little money, you can get impulse responses of great producers from great studios that have access to resources that we cannot dream about. And initially, my thought is, who am I to compete with these guys, right? If, for example, like Nolly Get Good, who is doing some amazing impulse responses, is working in his studio, which is acoustically optimized in a way that I can't even imagine, having tried out dozens of cabinets with different speakers set up in different angles with different microphones for weeks or months. Who am I to compete with him? So it really is a gift to be able to take that very sound, where so much effort and professionalism has gone into, and use it on my gigs, in my mixes. The competing technology to impulse responses in the 21st century for guitar players are cabinets. There is something about cabinets that just amazes me literally every time I'm playing with the cabinet. And this may be because I'm so used to playing with impulse responses, but every time I'm playing my amp into a cabinet, this is a magic moment that is just so joyful. And this is more of an emotional argument, but it is really, there's some pure energy about plugging a guitar into an amplifier, which goes into a cabinet, and then just playing this. This feels like the real deal, like the original kind of thing. And only because impulse responses may have some disadvantages doesn't mean that cabinets don't, right? When you're using a cabinet needs to be mic'd for every gig that you do, unless you don't use a professional PA. And this is quite a big challenge. The first thing that you'll have to face is inconsistency, because every venue is sounding different. The cabinet is dependent on the venue, and small venue, big venue, the materials used, the shape the stage has, indoor, open air, all of these are factors that can really, that are crucial for setting up a cabinet. And essentially this means that when you're using a cabinet live on stage and you're miking it up, that you'll have a different sound every day. There's some venues where you're asked to turn up your amplifier. There are some venues where you're asked to keep it low volume. Some venues may have acoustical issues like standing waves, for example. Some stages may have a certain shape that can cause some reflections that are, not ideal when it comes to miking a cabinet. You'll have bleeding. Something you can't avoid at all is bleeding, which means that every other signal on the stage, for example, crash, cymbals or anything else from the drums are ultimately going to be recorded and captured by your guitar amplifier's microphone as well. Also, carrying a cabinet can be quite hard when you have flight-in gigs or when your car is not laid out for carrying big luggage, as in the situation we had. But there's something about cabinets that I start to understand, maybe because I'm getting older, or maybe because I'm, just thinking in different ways nowadays. If it works, it works. A simple setup with a cabinet ensures that, the guitar is present on the stage. And why is this such an important thing? Having the guitar used with an impulse response being only part of the full mix that comes from the PA is a really nice thing if you're working with an optimized system. This means that the venue should, be laid out for this kind of use. The crew should know how to handle it when you're playing in a small band like I am right now. With this gig I did last week, we're using local crew. And even if the guys may be the greatest sound engineers in the world, they don't know us, we don't know them, they've never ever worked with us. So we are dependent on their way of thinking, or on their philosophy, of their interpretation of what we want our set to sound like. It's impossible for them to arrange everything in the way that we like it to have, especially with the kind of complex music that we're doing, where there's a lot of different guitar work happening, where we have a lot of guitar solos. They don't know the spots. They can't, on the fly adjust equalizers and volume levels, automation, everything, based on our necessities. So it's only natural that their work may not 100% match our vision. It's simply not possible. Summed up in a nutshell: impulse responses, advantages, world-class tones to go, easy to use, and consistency in sound. Disadvantages: you are 100% relying on the audio engineer, on the crew, when it comes to how the crowd is hearing your guitar. You don't have an actual source of guitar sound on stage, and therefore you're in high danger of having the first row problem. Cabinet advantages: you're having an actual source of sound on stage. You're having an original, real guitar experience. Even if the sound engineer is not setting up everything in a way that you'd like it to have, still in mid-size and small venues, you'll hear at least a certain proportion of the sound coming directly from the amplifier. Disadvantages: hard to carry, inconsistency, sounding different in every venue. You need to mic everything up. So there's way more space for error when it comes to the initial setup of the sound. Now, what have I learned from this gig? I have learned that IRs can be a great solution. I've toured with IRs for years and years and years. But now, starting my own band, Skytribe, a year ago, I've realized that it's not the same thing as back in the days with Majesty, where we had our own mixing engineers, where we had 2 or 3 people at least in the crew to set stuff up. And not having these resources anymore, I feel that it's time for me to try out something new. Ironically, what I consider as new is actually the older technology, which is a cabinet. The cabinet is nothing that I would describe as better than impulse responses for live use. But if you use it in the right way, it can serve as a great backup, and you can combine it with impulse responses. And this is exactly what I plan to do for my next gig. So you've now heard my thoughts about impulse responses, and this has been a hard video for me. Since I started touring with 18 years of age, I was always using some kind of solution that is based on impulse responses. has been quite rare that I was using cabinets for touring. Now the time has come for me to move a step back and to bring a cabinet to those gigs that I'm intending to play in the future. I'm having another gig coming up in December, shortly after Christmas, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm bringing my camera there, my set is coming again, my guitar tech, and it's hopefully helping out with filming quite some footage there. The only difference in the setup will be this cabinet over here. That is the BluGuitar Nano cap, 1x12 cap. It's the smallest 1x12 cap in the world. I've used it a lot in the studio. I really like it. I've used it a lot for workshops, and I've used it on some gigs, but not the metal gigs that I'm talking about here. The sound that we have with Skytribe, it is like Champions League. It's very sophisticated, super busy arrangement. So that is really a scenario where I want to test drive a cabinet. Something I've never done before with my metal bands was always IR when I was playing live, or let's say 95% of the times it was IR based when I was playing live. And this is going to be a great experience. So what I'm planning to do for the next gig is bring the cabinet and still running everything with impulse responses as I'm doing it right now. So the cap will serve as a backup source for me to have something on stage, and that will compete with the acoustic signals of the drum, and that will feed, audio signal to the first couple of rows in the venue. So I don't need it to be crazy loud. I don't need it to be mic'd, right? Because there are some disadvantages about this. I only need it to be on the stage. I need it to be present, and I hope that this will bring some improvement to my setup. I don't want to leave unmentioned that I've talked to a lot of the people who joined the show, and everyone was telling me the same thing when they were up front. A lot of the nuances of the guitar got lost in the mix and the drums, but as you step back, the sound was quite nice. I'm sure that is the case, but being on stage, I can't really judge it, but I trust the people, as I've heard so many opinions that were confirming this to likely be the case. And again, I want to make clear that I love impulse responses, I love cabinets. This is not what is better, right? The title of the video may be a little bit clickbaity, but this is to grab your guys' attention. Both are great technologies, both have advantages and disadvantages, and it's my job to be dead honest about it and tell you about those advantages and disadvantages, because this may inform your decision for the future. I want if you are buying a product of BluGuitar or any other manufacturer, I want you to be happy with it. I want you to understand what you're buying and to understand what you can do with it and what you can't do with it. So yeah, this is why I thought it would be most authentic to actually bring you guys with me when I'm gigging and when I'm on my eternal path of finding the ultimate tone. All right, guys, that's it. I'm gonna be live in a second, so this is a pre-recorded video, as you know, but this is part of the live stream, so you'll see me being live in just a few moments. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you've learned a little bit about my ways of thinking when it comes to live guitar tone. Maybe this informed your personal journey to get the ultimate live guitar tone as well. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of the stream. Wow, guys, that was the vlog of my live experience last week. And by the way, there was some muted legato shred. This is such a fun thing on the Mercury to do. This is I guess it's my favorite technique, legato and muting at the same time. It sounds like the best of both worlds. You got the fluidity of legato playing, and you got the attack of picking. Don't you? right, but guys, I guess that we're approaching the end. So this is the last chance to dance, the last time to ask questions for tonight, because we are about to end this stream. We got a lot of stuff covered today. We got the lick of the month. We got the jam community jam project explained again. We got, you know, a little bit of tutorial on how to play over the backing track. We did see some video and hear some music of my band Skytribe. We've seen the vlog. We've discussed impulse responses versus cabinets. So a lot of stuff happening here. And as I've just told you in the last part of the recorded video, I am planning to make another of those videos next month. So this is like what you're going to see in, not in the next stream. Next month's stream is going to be on Christmas, so we're going to do something else. There's something special, like for example the community jam. But one of the next episodes, maybe even in January, I will, you know, do the exact same thing, but this time I'm bringing a cabinet. I'm bringing the Nano cab. It's a small cab, so it's not a huge sounding device. I'm not going to mic it. I just leave it on stage, playing with the exact same setup other than that, and then we'll see how it sounds in the first rows. And my guess is that I will be amazed, because this is what Thomas himself recommended me. This is what he's doing. He's using the Blue Box, essentially a device to use impulse responses with. Then he's having a cab as a backup to avoid the issues that I had. For example, not hearing your epic shreds in the first couple of rows. All right, but you know, right now you can hear my epic shreds, so I'm gonna do a little bit more of those. Alright guys, I guess that's it for tonight. We had quite an extensive episode, didn't we? It's almost 2.5 hours. I'm appreciating every single one of you. We are appreciating every single one of you. It means the world that you guys are tuning in every week. It means the world that you guys are likely users of BluGuitar products. So we are extremely happy that we can do this with you guys together. And you know, again, let me mention it one more time. This is exactly what we're celebrating: the BluGuitar community in the BluGuitar Community Jam. Watch our social media channels, watch our YouTube channel. We'll have the video on that up in just a couple of days, I suppose. And we would be happy if, you know, everyone, doesn't matter if old, young, blues, metal, experienced, as professional or amateur, you know, anyone can be part of this, and we're having a great time. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. The last thing I am going to show you tonight is the second single of my band, Legacy of Life, which has been out for a couple of months now. This doesn't have a shred guitar solo, but more melodic guitar work, but some crushing riffs and all of that. So I hope you enjoy it, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in, and have a nice one.